Why do good kids suddenly become strangers? That is the chilling question parents whisper when their child slams the door, eyes blazing with fire. Rebellion, an ancient story dressed in ripped jeans and midnight silence. Philosopher Soren Kierkegaard once wrote, "Anxiety is the dizziness of freedom." Teenage rebellion is that dizziness embodied. Freedom colliding with fear, self colliding with shadow. Imagine a bird pressed against the bars of its cage. It's not hatred of the parent holding the key, but desperation to prove its wings work. Every slammed door, every shouted, "You don't understand," is not rejection. It's proof of awakening. But here's the twist. Rebellion is not destruction, but construction. Teenagers speak in storms. Their silence is thunder. Their defiance, lightning. To see rebellion only as danger is to miss its deeper whisper. I'm trying to become myself. So ask yourself, what if rebellion is not destruction, but construction? What if their fight is a mirror to your own forgotten battles? And now we enter the storm of the teenage mind. What is rebellion is not anger, but fear wearing armor. Behind the slammed doors and rolled eyes hides a truth as old as human growth. Psychologists call it individuation, the painful birth of identity. It's not that your child hates you, it's that they're terrified of disappearing inside you. They push back to see where they end and where you begin. Think of fire. Fire doesn't rebel against wood, it consumes so it can transform. Teenage rebellion is the fire testing its strength. If we try to smother it, the flame grows wild. If we respect it, it becomes light. Nietzsche warned, "You must have chaos within you to give birth to a dancing star." Rebellion is that chaos, raw, frightening, but necessary. Parents see defiance as disrespect, but rebellion often hides a plea. See me, not the child you once held. See the person I am becoming. The chilling psychology is this. When rebellion isn't heard, it hardens. And when it hardens, it becomes distance. So, what happens when a teenager's storm is ignored?
What if silence is the loudest rebellion? Not every teen slams doors. Some vanish into screens, headphones, and endless scrolling. Their rebellion is retreat, an invisible protest. Psychology reveals that silence is not absence. It is resistance, a refusal to fight, but also a refusal to obey. Plato once said, "The measure of a man is what he does with power." For a teenager, silence is power. It says, you cannot control what you cannot reach. Parents fear rebellion as noise, but the chilling truth, quiet rebellion cuts deeper. It leaves mothers guessing, fathers pacing. It is a rebellion of withdrawal, more haunting than rage. Imagine standing at a locked door, not knowing if the child inside is crying, plotting, or simply disappearing. That is the silence of teenage rebellion, the vanishing act of identity. But here lies the paradox. Silence can be both a cry for space and a plea for connection. Misread it and you lose them. Listen to it and you might just save them. So how can parents learn to hear rebellion's hidden language?
What if rebellion is not against parents, but against the mirror? Teenagers fight not only rules, but reflections, the reflection of who they fear becoming. Carl Jung believed the greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parent. Teenage rebellion often isn't about curfew, it's about escaping the weight of expectations. When a teen says, "You don't get it," what they mean is, "Don't trap me in your story." Their rebellion is a battle to own their narrative. Think of a sculptor striking marble. Each blow looks destructive, but it is shaping form. Rebellion is not random. It is carving identity out of inherited stone. The chilling psychology here. Parents often fight not their children, but their own reflection. The rules, the punishments, the arguments. Sometimes they echo the battles we lost within ourselves. To understand rebellion, we must ask not, what is my child fighting, but what ghost of mine are they refusing to inherit? And now, we descend deeper into rebellion's shadow, the dangerous edge where identity meets risk.
What if rebellion isn't just about freedom, but about survival? Beneath teenage defiance lurks something darker, the primal instinct to break chains before they suffocate. Evolution wired rebellion as protection. In tribes, young wolves leave the pack, not from hatred, but to ensure their own future. Human teens do the same. Jean-Jacques Rousseau once warned, "Man is born free, yet everywhere he is in chains." Teenagers feel those chains more tightly than anyone. Every fight about clothing, friends, or music is not about fashion, it's about territory. Each argument is a map they're drawing of their new world. But here lies the danger. When rebellion is suppressed too harshly, it mutates. It becomes secrecy, lies, or reckless risk, not to destroy parents, but to escape suffocation. Think of a river. Block its path and it floods. Guide it gently, and it nourishes the land. The chilling psychology is this: rebellion is survival, dressed as defiance. Ignore it, and you risk losing them not to anger, but to escape. And yet, rebellion doesn't always spot.
What if rebellion is not breaking, but building? Every slammed door is also a brick laid in the architecture of selfhood. Philosophers remind us the child is the father of the man. Rebellion is the child fathering the adult. Uncomfortable, messy, but necessary. Consider the caterpillar. To the casual eye, its thrashing in the cocoon looks like death, but inside, wings are forming. Rebellion is the cocoon stage of identity. Psychology shows that teens who rebel but feel heard often become stronger adults because rebellion isn't about rejection, it's rehearsal. They are rehearsing how to lead, how to question, how to carry their own voice into a noisy world. But when parents mistake rebellion for disrespect, they risk silencing the rehearsal. And a silenced rehearsal often leads to a broken performance. So perhaps the question is not, how do I stop rebellion, but how do I guide it? Because rebellion, when understood, can be the bridge, not the barrier. But beware, for sometimes rebellion slips beyond guidance. Sometimes it walks into danger.
What if rebellion flirts with danger because danger feels like freedom? Teenagers are wired to test limits, not because they're foolish, but because their brains crave risk. Neuroscience shows that dopamine spikes in adolescence are higher than in adults. Every risk feels like a crown, every rebellion like a throne. This is why rebellion often dances with cigarettes, speeding cars, and forbidden love. Not because teens want destruction, but because danger whispers, "You are alive." Albert Camus wrote, "Freedom is nothing else but a chance to be better." Yet teens often mistake freedom for danger's embrace. They rebel not to fall, but to feel the rush of flying. Here lies the parental paradox. The tighter the leash, the more tempting the cliff. But the absence of boundaries, equally deadly. The chilling psychology is this: rebellion is drawn to danger like moths to flame, not because teens want to burn, but because they want to test the fire. So how do we walk this razor's edge between trust and fear?
What if rebellion is really a test of love? Teenagers push not just rules, but hearts. Their question is simple: will you love me even when I fight you? Psychology shows that rebellion often intensifies in families where love feels conditional. A slammed door can mean, do you love me enough to open it again? Rumi once wrote, "The wound is the place where the light enters you." Rebellion is a wound that asks parents, will you enter with light or with fear? Think of rebellion as waves crashing against a cliff. The ocean doesn't hate the stone, it is shaping it. Each rebellion tests whether the foundation will hold. Parents often mistake the test for betrayal, but the chilling truth? Failing that test leaves scars deeper than any fight.
Because every teenager wants to know, am I still yours even when I rebel? So rebellion is not just fire, it is faith on trial. But what happens when that trial stretches too long and love begins to fracture? What if rebellion becomes exile? When arguments harden into walls, rebellion risks turning into permanent distance. Psychologists call this detachment, the point when a teen no longer fights because they no longer believe connection is possible. It is chilling because rebellion at least means they still care enough to resist. But detachment? That's the silence after the storm. The moment a teen stops fighting and simply walks away. Marcus Aurelius once said, "Loss is nothing else but change." But for a parent, the loss of connection feels like death in slow motion. The psychology of rebellion warns us when conflict is endless, some teens choose exile over war. They move out not only of the home, but out of the bond. And here lies the deepest fear. Not that rebellion ends in anger, but that it ends in absence. So the question becomes urgent. How do we keep rebellion as bridge, not border? And now we arrive at the final step, the choice parents must face.
What if rebellion is not the end, but the beginning? The teenage storm feels chilling because it rattles the walls of love, but storms clear skies. Philosophy whispers, where there is danger, there also grows the saving power. Rebellion, when met with wisdom, does not destroy the bond, it deepens it. Parents, here is the truth. Rebellion is not rejection. It is your child begging to be seen, tested, trusted. Every slammed door is an invitation. Every shouted word is a plea. Every silence is a bridge waiting for your step. Do not fear rebellion. Fear the moment it vanishes, because rebellion means they still believe you're worth fighting. So listen, not with anger, but with wonder. Guide, not with chains, but with courage. Love, not when it is easy, but when it feels impossible. Because teenage rebellion is not the end of your story together. It is the beginning of their becoming. And now you're ready to rise.